Every one of you watching this screen, look out.
Anything can happen in the next half hour.
What did I tell you about cartoons?
They've got a lot of brains, and they've got a lot of chutzpah.
Tell me how comic books make you feel, Dave.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious, and don't call me Shirley.
Hi everybody, this is Jim Bridges, and my son's here today because I'm an old fart and I've never done a review of a game. I've got some good stories about my son playing games, but that's another story. So, Paul, say hello.
Hello, audience.
Yeah, okay, so this is the Art of BioShock Infinite. Now, what does Infinite mean? Is that a sub, what's...
Well, this was the third instalment in the series. So what exactly it's referring to be truthful, I don't actually know. It might be a reference to the fact that the whole setting for it's up in the clouds, up in the sky, but yeah, I'm actually not entirely sure.
Well, it's the third part of the game, isn't it?
Yeah, this is the third instalment in the series.
And do you want to explain that? Because I don't know.
Well, BioShock is almost a re-release of an old PC game called System Shock, and they'd done a couple of those games, I think, in the late '90s, early noughties, and it got re-released, if you will. I think a lot of the people that originally worked on System Shock came back to work on BioShock, which turned out to be hugely popular.
And it originally was underwater?
Yeah, the first two installments were underwater. I think not a lot of people loved the first game, but the second one was lost on a lot of people, and I think it may have been because they based it once again underwater.
Okay.
And that may have been the inspiration behind going up into the clouds for the third installment.
Okay, all right. And I mean, it's pretty impressive artwork here.
Yeah.
I'm seeing all sorts of like influences here. I've seen so far. I mean, that's almost like out of the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, I get a lot of Return to Oz vibes and even Alice in Wonderland vibes.
Well, Return to Oz was based more upon the original drawings than the original film was. This is pretty horrific. What's this stuff about?
I think this is the effects that these plasmids have on the local populace. These plasmids basically change the biology of anyone who decides to take them, gives them special abilities, and I think these are the results of people that got a bit carried away with it.
Okay, so these are sort of mutants.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, this is based on drawings from the photos from the First World War with all the injuries they had. They took photographs of it.
Yeah, you can definitely see echoes of that. It's pretty horrific stuff.
My God, they had milk crates in those days, did they?
Well, to be honest, like a lot of this artwork, it translates very well to the game. A lot of these images you do see in the game.
Okay.
Not everything, but
so
quite a bit of it.
Can you roughly tell me the game and how these things all fit in?
Wow, it is a large game, but it does seem to be
like when you say a large game, there's hundreds of hours of playing it.
Not hundreds. It's the game. The actual story for the game, I think, takes the average gamer probably about 10 to a dozen hours, maybe up to 15 hours, which is pretty standard for a lot of games.
Okay, and I mean, is this game very popular?
Absolutely.
So it's like it's up there in the top 10, is it? Or
I think for its time, it definitely was. From memory, I think when this game had just released back in the old PlayStation 3 days, it would have been number one for several weeks.
And what's going on here? Is this influenced by Terminator 3 or?
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. Or the Day of the Triffids, or I'm not quite sure what's going on.
No, this is not Triffids. These are going to hurt.
Yeah, they look like pincers or something.
Yeah, these are going to hurt.
I'm not actually sure if that particular character does appear in the game.
So it's not a war game.
No, this is much more of a story-based game, and I think the mainstream gaming audience probably a lot of this effort that goes into the storytelling might be lost on a lot of gamers.
Okay, because this is like the Jim Henson film, you know.
Jim Henson, not Dark Crystal.
Yeah, Dark Crystal. It's
Okay.
very Dark Crystal-y.
Yep.
Oh, look at this. This is this is this is a lot of things. I can see Tin Man. Is it Tin? No, Tin. The guy who wore all the pots and pans in the Faraway Tree. And I can see the Mad Hatter.
Yeah.
And also this alcoholic character. You know, all the bottles. Mm. Do you, what is this character?
I don't think he does much at all, other than just maybe gives you a little bit of a shock when you turn a corner and starts heaving these bottles at you, which cause a bit of damage.
Yeah. And this is Easter Bunny meets what I don't know, incredible. Mm. So why go to all this effort with art for a game? I mean, there's an incredible amount of work here.
Yeah, I think the first game in particular really set a pretty high benchmark for the sort of detail the artists and the developers were willing to go to bring this world to life. Especially the first two games that are set underwater, they do really well at building this living, breathing world. Which is in a state of decay by the time you, the gamer, are given the controller. Basically.
So you come like you discover it. It's a lost world.
It does. The first game very much feels like that. The first game you go down in a plane, much like the movie Castaway.
Yeah.
And you land in the water, and then you swim to a nearby lighthouse that you see.
Okay.
And you walk up a staircase that goes to the top of this lighthouse, and then you jump in a bathysphere, which is just like a little round submarine. Yeah. It then takes you underwater, and then you discover the world of I think it's called Rapture.
Who's this?
This is the damsel in distress.
What's her name?
I don't actually recall. Elizabeth, I think her name is. But she you later find out in the game that she has otherworldly powers, supernatural powers. From memory, she can actually tear holes in space-time that you can travel through.
So you can get out of tight spots.
Correct, yes.
It's like the hole that bloke invents in the Warner Brothers cartoon.
Yeah, there's actually some, I think there's even some moments in Roger Rabbit like that where they mess around with these holes and you can slap it on a wall and put your arm through it. But
well, there's definitely a lot of drawings here. I mean, these are all her emotions and stuff. Mm.
And the game manages to give you I suppose a sense of emotional connection to this girl. You kind of feel bad for her. She's almost been, I think she's been locked away in a tower, much like Rapunzel for many years.
So it's got an international look, but at the same time I'm feeling there's a very Americana thing about it.
Yeah. All three of the BioShock games are very heavily influenced by American cultures of the past.
Wow.
Yeah, she's a powerful chick, this one.
Okay. And this looks like that British actor.
Yeah, it's got a bit of Doctor Who about it.
Yeah.
That guy. Yeah. Okay,
there's a bit of Doctor Who too. Okay. I love saying bit of Doctor Who too.
Well, I think this is the character that the player themselves controls.
Look at all this. This is Princess Mononoke.
Yeah. Yeah, even a bit of Star Wars in there, maybe. I don't know.
Oh, Star Wars pinched everything from everything else.
Yeah.
So, is this a good bird or a bad bird?
No, from memory, this is a bird that will come and attack you if you start doing the wrong thing, or if you just start getting a bit too close to areas that you know.
Well, what's the wrong thing? What's the wrong thing in this place? Oh, look at this character.
Yeah, I think it's called the Songbird. Or...
Sicko. It looks like a sloth.
I think this bird is also a protector of Elizabeth.
Ah, okay.
So when you start trying to get closer to Elizabeth, this guy starts appearing and makes your life pretty tough.
So do you hear all the, like, there's a lot of mechanical stuff in this. Do you hear it working in the game?
From memory you do.
Yeah.
And it's a massive bird. Like it would be dinosaur sized in comparison to the character you control. It's huge.
Well, it looks pretty bloody big. What's the story then? What do you have to achieve? You just have to survive?
Well, no, it's far more in depth than that. But it's been many years since I've played it. It's been the best part of 10 years since I've played it. But the main part is he has to save Elizabeth, who's been locked away in a very Rapunzel type scenario.
Okay. Yeah. And what's his name? The guy looks like Doctor Who.
I think they saw it back there.
It doesn't matter. So who's this character?
I think he was the founding father of the city where BioShock is based.
Why is it called BioShock? They tell you that?
Well, like I said, it was loose. It was almost a reboot of a previous game called System Shock.
Yeah.
But I think the bio refers to
Masonic.
Yeah.
And semi-religious Catholic stuff.
Yeah, flipping through this book, you get to see some really heavily religious themed
look
images.
at this. Oh, Ned Kelly.
Yeah, I think the bio in the title is just referring to the abilities you can get by finding these bottles, and it gives your body the ability to shoot flames or ice and things like that.
Okay, well this heads straight out of Return to Oz, isn't it?
Oh yeah, that's TikTok.
Yeah.
That is a carbon copy almost of TikTok.
Yeah, and also so this is set, you see, Wizard of Oz was written, I think it came out in 1900. So it was written in the late 1890s. Oh yeah. Okay. Industrial Revolution stuff. Yeah. So so this is what genre would you call this?
This was generally thrown in the horror genre.
Really?
This is a first-person shooter, so you never actually get to see much more than your own arm operating the tools and the guns that.
So all these weapons you get to use.
Yeah, a lot of them you do. Yeah.
Oh God, that looks like early. Looks like Iron Man's great-great-grandfather, doesn't it?
The Iron Man's first suit.
Yeah.
The Mark 1.
Oh no, earlier than that.
Yeah.
This looks like the Middle Ages. Yeah, so I mean, is in the game, is the art as good as this? Or I mean, these are artist drawings for the people to manufacture the games.
Yeah, I think the game was.
So it's a high quality.
It is visually, it's very high quality. Some of the concept art doesn't translate perfectly from the page to the screen, but most of it does.
Yeah.
For the best part, I recognise a lot of this stuff as soon as I spotted it in the books.
So this came out before Abe Lincoln, the Vampire Hunter.
Yeah. I never watched that one.
Well, is that a game? I thought it was a book.
No, that was a movie.
A movie,
yeah.
Yeah, little Gatling guns.
Yep.
So your arm gets replaced. Cyber.
This is a robotic enemy, which is a relentless.
Is he? Because it's based on
very Terminator-esque.
It's based on George Washington.
Yeah.
So he's the bad guy.
One of the many.
One of the many. So there's only a few good guys in this.
Yeah, it's basically just you and Elizabeth.
Okay, so
everyone else. I mean, everyone else. They might, even if they interact with you as a friendly citizen, it doesn't take much for them to get ticked off and for them to start turning on you.
Okay. My God, look at this stuff. This goes on forever, doesn't it? So, how long do I can't believe all this stuff is in one game. Like, some of these never made it to the game?
No, I don't think it did. And from what I recall, there was actually a pretty troubled production with this game. I think they did have dramas throughout the making of it, and that they may have rushed it to release to meet the deadline.
Okay.
So
It's
there may
pretty
have been
am-
a lot of stuff that just didn't make the cut.
It's pretty ambitious. I mean, they're making up ads based on old ads.
Yeah, and they established this even in the earlier games.
Yeah, it's part of the establishment thing with all
Yeah.
these sort of, you know. So what's this about your voice? Talk about the voice, don't they? What's this about find your voice? I mean, it's Big Brother stuff too, isn't it?
Oh, very much so.
Like
They-
Shush, he's always listening.
Yeah. Yeah, they really wanted to control the
These
citizens.
These are send up and rip-offs of all sorts of art, and that's the sort of the art you get in the early Jehovah's Witness magazines.
Yeah.
You know, it's like a Joseph Smith character.
I think there's that previous page was that they
This
have.
one?
Yeah, there are moments in the games where you have cutscenes and they show you these moments of how the city was born and how it came about. And I think this is the artwork from one of those.
Okay, yeah.
One of those scenes.
Yeah. Shock jockeys.
Yeah, these are the plasmids that they use. You'll find these scattered throughout the game, and different bottles give you different abilities.
Just like Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and from memory, you kind of crack the bottle open and it just pours all over your hands.
And so your hand turns into a Gatling gun or something.
That's right. You'll start seeing your hand change its form. It might, depending on the ability.
Because these are hands.
Yeah.
They are hands. Okay. The murder of the crows. Well, that's what they call crows.
That's right. A group of crows is a murder, apparently. Yeah.
So they got any popular culture references? This is all historic stuff. They don't have any Hitchcocks running around, do they? Or
No, not from what I recall. But I think
any Marios? Any Mario?
No Mario's either. They do. I think they do reference. There's parts in the first two games which reminded me of the Clockwork Orange.
Oh yeah.
And the it kind of fits the same sort of tone. Tonally, it had a very sort of strange, uneasy, a slightly horrific type of tone to it.
Are you looking at me? Are you looking at me?
Yeah.
Are you looking at me? Are you looking at me?
That's a really cool little toy. This Sky.
Cool. My God.
Once you get a hold of this,
Well, look at this. Look what it's doing.
it's disemboweling, decapitations and stuff.
Yuck.
So you just use that skyhook as a means of being able to quickly and dynamically travel around the city because there's rails all over the city. So if you jump, you can slide on these rails everywhere you go.
Weapons. Every weapon you want here.
Yeah, it's a shooting game, so there's a ton of different guns in there.
Yeah, and how do you win? You survive.
It's all about trying to save Elizabeth.
So there's no goal except to save Elizabeth.
Yeah, and I think from what I recall,
but she could also look after herself as well.
Oh, very much. But Elizabeth, from memory, ties into the previous game. So I think
to
to fully appreciate this game, it's probably better served that you've played those previous games.
Yeah.
In fact, it's kind of it's a bit of a shame we don't have the artwork of those previous books because I think you'd enjoy those just as much.
Yeah, well, I mean,
I certainly did.
See, this is Russian art now. This is Russian art, mixed up with all sorts of stuff. And Columbia, that's the first. That's what America was originally going to be called, you know. Yeah. Okay. The colours are very Maxwell Parrish. He's an illustrator in America.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, well, this is Broadway virtually, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, they managed to capture the many eras sort of really well. Not just in one particular time frame, but they sort of grab a bit from everywhere.
It's very Americana. Very Americana.
Oh, everywhere you go, you see the American flag almost at every turn.
And all
the
this
game.
stuff, all this bunting.
And Fink seems to appear on everything. I think the Fink manufacturing is responsible for putting this city up in the air.
Ah, okay. Okay. Rosie Rickford, The Magical Knight, this week. Well, that's probably Mary Pickford. The early
Rosie Rickford.
Yeah, she's probably Mary Pickford, who was the first female star of American movies. Well, big star, not the first. Okay. And what's so good about this game, Paul?
I think just
The art's pretty impressive. I can't believe all this is in one game.
the thing that that I found a little different from this is that they do put a bit of time and effort into the narrative and the story of this game. A lot of the time, the stories takes a back seat to the gameplay. But this is a franchise and a series that focused as much on the story and the characters and the world as it does just shooting your enemies.
Well, they obviously pinched this in Avatar, didn't they?
Yeah, parts of that you can sort of get the upside down type thing and how it's floating in midair. And
this is interesting too because it's like diagrams of one of those machines that sort of register stuff, and yet it's
3D printing machine.
Yeah,
Almost.
that's right, and it's architecture too.
Oh, when I saw those little images, those silhouettes looked to me like spaceships.
Yeah, they do. Yeah,
from Star Wars. And
yeah, well,
things
see,
like that.
that's what I saw. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Oh well, there we are. Okay, all right. And what would you give this this book out of 10?
The artwork's gorgeous. It really showcases the art as good as this game deserves, in my opinion. So, I mean, what do we give it out of 5? Do we go out of 5 or out of 10? What's the criteria here?
We don't do this, but you're a gamer, so you have to do this.
Well, if I was giving this an out of 5, I'd probably give it at least a 4.5. It really does well.
It's that good. Well, I don't know. There's a lot of work in this. You know, I can't believe all this work went into a game. Yeah, well, it's a Dark Horse book, and it's written by Ken Levine, I think.
Yep.
So it's still around. It's still around. It's about 10 years old, this book. I'd check it out. Check it out.
The game's still around too. The game was so popular that even though it was released on the PlayStation 3, they re-released it on the PlayStation 4. And they gave it a HD remaster like they do with a lot of movies.
And is it addictive?
Yeah, it is. It's not designed around addiction though.
No,
it's not how they hook you. They rely much more on the story.
So it's got a strong story. That's interesting to me.
That's
interesting to me because a lot of these things don't seem to have much of a story.
Well, a lot of them don't. The addictive games are the ones that don't really bother with much of the story. When I finished the story for this game, I didn't play it much more than that, and that's what games tend to try and lean away from. That they want replayability, and a story tends to make that a bit harder to achieve.
Okay, all right. Well, okay. Well, this is Jim Bridges and
Paul Bridges
saying we'll see you next time, and we're going to do Zelda next. So hang on there, folks.
Yeah, can't wait.
Bye bye.
See ya.
Thanks for the sour persimmons, cousin.